Alright, so how y'all doing, boys? Hope you're doing well. Now in today's video, finally got some new patch notes and we're finally having the MEGELLDA drop on Global Grand Cross. Now, at the point of actually recording this video with, the update being tomorrow, we will be caught up to JP for just a slight moment. Granted, the 2.5 anniversary, like the 2.5 year anniversary for them is like literally days or probably even like tens of hours away. It's nice to see that we're going to be caught up, and with the 2.5 anniversary actually lasting 2 weeks, there will be a short period of time once again, probably like a week or so, where we will be caught up to them, which is really, really nice. I wonder if they'll actually do something like, or some kind of like celebration or just something at least for the fact that we're finally caught up to JP Grand Cross. Not something, honestly, not a lot of gacha games do, which is nice. But what have we got here now? New chapter of Ragnarok. I probably won't do a video on this in all honesty. We actually have the MEGELLDA there, which is pretty sick. I don't know, I just don't really, I'm not the biggest fan of actually doing the story stuff. Like, I do like doing it, but I just don't think making content on it is the greatest thing. Maybe if I did a live stream, that'd be pretty cool to hang out with you guys. But other than that, unlocked by clearing chapter 2, yada yada yada. Clear 100% of each chapter's quest will be unlocked by, basically more just stuff there. And more collection of stories for the Grimner's book and added with the chapter 3 update. Basically just free gems at that point. You kind of just spam click through all the dialogue and collect Grimner's stories to access more in-depth lore and acquire rewards when you read them for the first time. Basically just free gems. And here is the banner with the new Valkyrie MEGELLDA. I swear the translation was different, and the Ragnarok Truthseeker Merlin. Now, would I recommend summoning on this banner? Absolutely not. We haven't seen like any real strong use out of MEGELLDA for the bird raid, which is like her main kind of content. If we had skill translations or whatnot, which I might actually get up in all honesty, she just hasn't really shined as much as some of the other units in the bird raid. And the Ragnarok Truthseeker Merlin is just another extremely disappointing unit. Like, compared to the current Truthseeker Merlin we have, the Someone is honestly one of my like favorite units in the game in terms of like actual fun, but she's also an insanely good unit, competing even with like the Lolly Merlin in who you'd want to choose for the Gotha team. But I might actually jump in, so there's the skills and whatnot there. I might actually jump into what the skill effects are and whatnot. Here we go, God of Valhalla, Valkyrie, MEGELLDA. Yeah, I thought I was saying it right, but first card here is an Amplify card. Inflicts amplify damage equal to 450% of attack on one Amplify. The Amplify card basically giving extra 30% damage per buff on self. The only reason you would even be able to use this chick in PvP at all is due to the fact that Margaret gives off those 5 buff effects, and the fact that putting any other unit with her is almost guaranteed to work. If it wasn't for Margaret, we would not be seeing any of her in PvP, and I doubt you guys even will see her in PvP. But second card here, heals HP of all allies equal to 325% of attack, rejuvenates for 1 turn, and rejuvenate effect, additional recovery equal to 60% of recovered HP at the start of every turn, this is the main reason why people thought she was actually going to be good in the burn raid, along with her passive, of course, but it just doesn't work. Like, she looks really good on paper, but in play it's a whole different story. And the ultimate inflicts power strike damage equal to 630% of attack on all enemy, and power strike ignores the resistance of the enemy, which is once again the only way you can actually deal damage to the Hasvelga raid in the phase 4 of the first actual like floor. So although it's good, I don't really think it's going to be like your main source. Usually you're going to want to have like those actual 3-star cards. A little bit easier to get than an ultimate. You can only hold one ultimate for, obvious reasons. But looking at the passive here, in Hasvelga, whenever an ally's remaining HP gets healed to full, increase all stats of that hero by 8% for 5 turns, stacks up to 5 times. And this does actually apply in a buff effect, which does help the fact that she does amplify damage. But once again, it just doesn't happen as much as you think it would, and the 8% doesn't really end up helping out, once again, as much as you think it would. It only stacks up to 5 times. You'll almost never see those actual 5 being there on the hero at one time. So she's alright. She doesn't have any like super strong base stats or anything. And jumping over to the Merlin here, who is a million times more disappointing. Don't get me wrong, the costumes are sick. All the card skills look sick as well. The actual, animations and whatnot are really cool, but she just doesn't hold up to the actual, like, Grand Cross have been doing a fairly good job at making units as of recent, and Truthseeker Merlin just doesn't hold up to that promise. I don't know, she's obviously made it for the King team, and she just doesn't do that well. Even granted, the King team is a team that needs some heavy buffs, and we're hoping with the release of the actual 2.5 year anniversary for JP, we do get a buff to the fairy team, but we'll just have to wait and see. Our first card here inflicts damage equal to 250% of attack on all enemies. Shocks for 4 turns, and shock is additional damage equal to 45% of a damage dealt at the end of every turn. And 45% damage, I do believe all like the poison modifier. I think shock's actually the weakest one out of all of like the poison and that. So disappointing there. The second card, which is actually a pretty good card, if they hadn't made it AoE, it would have been really, really strong, but decreases defense related stats of one enemy by 50% and disables everything but debuff skills for 3 turns, which, yeah, if that went on everyone, that'd be extremely, extremely good, but it is what it is. Jumping over to the ultimate here, same one as the other one. Decreases HP related stats of all enemies by 30% for 2 turns and inflicts damage equal to 400% of attack on one enemy. And the HP related stats decrease actually applies before the ultimate, so you do get, you know, the max amount of efficiency out of that ultimate. It's a really, really good ultimate, honestly. Probably like top 5 PvP ultimates in the game, I'd say. Having a look at the passive here, increase all enemies, damage taken from shock debuff by 25%. Also increases the damage enemies received by 20% under the effect of shock debuff, which once again, these 25 and 20% modifiers look really, really good, but in practice, they just don't do enough. The kind of dot damage debuff meta was extremely short-lived and just cannot compete, especially with like the fact that Margaret has the cleanse effect, even at level 1 on her Breath of Bless card, and the fact that Barnes gift healing is just so insanely good. Like at 3 starts, 50%. That is absolutely ridiculous. And we do of course have the Holy Relic here. Decreases all enemies max HP by 100% of the hero's attack. Applies when entering the battle, excludes deathmatch, which honestly is a pretty good Holy Relic. I might actually consider getting that one for her and actually using it on the other Truth Seeker Melon. But back to the patch notes here. Ragnarok events, Fate of the Gods. Once again, the Lamek and Purunpu have been here a million times. I'm sure you guys have seen those. I might actually do a guide on the Purunpu since I don't think he's been around for any time, like whilst I've been making content, so it'd be nice to have that on the channel. And Leona's Festival, does it actually, okay, Bartra's birthday event, it's kind of just like a small story. Other than that, yeah, Lamek returns, all those events and whatnot. Really, really short, so I mean, granted, you know, we're not going to be having crazy amounts of stuff every week, and I'm sure we'll see a lot of new stuff within the next week on JP, but we'll just have to wait and see. But battle events here, we get these every week. Once again, first time completion rewards are really good. I wouldn't recommend grinding them, like in like using your stamina pots. It's just these extreme stages end up costing like 25 stamina and whatnot and just do not give you enough gold. You're definitely better off waiting for the half stamina, which I do believe is actually, or at least was active last week on Global. So try not to miss out on that one. New costumes for MEGELLDA. Not really a big fan of any of these. I mean, granted I haven't seen them. I do actually like her regular costume a lot more. I just feel as if it matches the character. And new bundles, daily guaranteed SSR ticket. Depending on what the prices are, some of these are really good. I'm actually not too sure what the piggy bank bundle is. I'll have to have a look at that one. And new player rank up bundles. These ones are usually really good price, especially for how much diamonds they get you. So would definitely recommend buying these ones. And ticket bundles are always good value for the money. This one especially, I'll probably end up buying one of these and I'll definitely summon for him to get the one rotation through. For the actual summons, if they keep it the same as the JP banner, you will be given the chance to get Brunhild, which, although not at the selector, is definitely a lot of value. I do believe my Brunhild's 3 or 4, 6, so probably honestly going to be the unit I'm going to be looking for most in those summons. If we could get a 5, 6, or 6, 6 Brunhild, that would be so good, especially in that like I was talking about the 4th phase where of the Hasvalga raid where you can only do damage with the power strike. If you get a crit and you have like a high ult level, you can easily get some high damage off that one. But new bundles, that's just basically going over everything we're talking about. So the piggy bank bundle, why is that? There we go. The piggy bank bundle is a Black Friday one. Maybe JP actually has that at the moment. I just haven't noticed it. But new hero engravings for the MEGELLDA and the 2 new holy relics, which, although in the actual translations here, decrease all enemies max HP by, okay, so it does actually say. I read this earlier and I mustn't have picked up on the hero's attack part, but other one here, increase unknown race allies damage dealt by 35%. Definitely wouldn't recommend getting this one, although these units don't even see any use in like any form of content at all at the moment. It's just not saying. If you're looking to get a holy relic, in all honesty, I reckon everyone should go for Twigos first. If you have Balm, getting Twigos is almost a must at this point. But other than that, new titles for the 7 constellation stuff. Removed the, this is actually huge as well. The the demonic battle has been revised so the players can re-challenge the same floor after losing a battle in Hasvalga raid. They basically just saw the fact that almost everyone was using the glitch and, you know, closing the app out once you got to like the defeat screen and going back to the same stage, that they literally just implemented it into the game, which is honestly such a great decision. When the, you know, when the demonic beast battle actually came out, a lot of that challenge, and still to this day, well, up until this update, a lot of the challenge was actually going through the stages and just having to restart that floor one every single time you lost. But finally fixing it, also changing some stuff about some of the actual turns, where how the buff cancel and whatnot works. Same with all these other ones, improved UI and rearranged world tree stage list. Honestly, a whole bunch of stuff. If you guys want to have a read over it, by all means pause the video on here and have a look, but nothing super important here. And then all of the rest of this stuff is basically just the ending events, basically all of the King of Fighters stuff that we have active at the moment. But that just about does it for the patch notes. Really happy with the update. Although the characters are a little bit lackluster and there isn't any crazy content, that, you know, we will be seeing like a whole bunch of new stuff in the coming weeks, and it's definitely going to make up for it. But that just about does it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Please hit like button, subscribe. It really means a lot to me, and I'll see you guys for some more Grand Cross content.